A very good morning to all the Camnet TV viewer. This is a breakfast show, a show that comes to your screen every morning from 07 hours to 09 hours, where we talk about a lot of important aspects happening in our economy. Monday, Tuesday, we go community. Wednesday, Thursday, it's policy issues, and today, Friday, we do discuss business, strictly business. But to keep me going, my name is Prudence Chota, and of course, I am not alone in studio. I am joined by my colleague, who's definitely going to introduce herself. My colleague, good morning.
Good morning, Prudence. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good morning to the viewers. My name is Amazing Katamanda. Welcome to the breakfast show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Breakfast. What's for breakfast this morning?
Obviously, is it not tea?
Okay.
It can't be breakfast without tea.
Sharon knows TV, better. We love good things.
Yes, definitely.
Of course, we love good things. That's why breakfast show, we bring you nothing but the best of what is happening in the current affairs, in the political atmosphere, and a lot of things in the business sector. And of course, we know a very important thing is about to happen next week on 30th of September 2022, where the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane, is expected to announce the 2023 national budget. We know a lot of debate has been surrounding how the 2022 budget has been implemented. And of course, people are wondering to say we are already looking at the 2023 national budget without even fully implementing the 2022 national budget. So that is our topic of discussion this morning. If you have to make a contribution with regards to how you feel the implementation of the 2022 budget has gone, you can call and make those contributions and submissions. Remember, policymakers are listening to this program and they might be able to pick on one or two things that you will submit on this program this morning. So let's get to interact and hear what you have to say with regards to the implementation of the 2022 national budget as the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane, next week on 30th of September 2022 announces the 2023 national budget. But before I preempt myself and of course my colleague here, we are going to listen to what the doctors have to say this morning on the Doctor's Corner. Stay tuned to Camnet TV, not just another channel.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
A blessed morning to you all. I'm Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, gynecologist from the Medical Women Association of Zambia. And I'm here to talk to you today about the menstrual cycle. Now, this is a very important subject, an often shunned topic, shrouded in secrecy and quiet, sometimes shame. But we should embrace our beauty as women. We should embrace our childhood, our womanhood, and our senior years. So we're going to spend this week discussing this shrouded secret and unwrap it. We're going to talk about the menstrual cycle. What is it exactly? Every girl baby is born with ovaries and a uterus. Of course, there are different extremes. Some people have female exterior but may not have the uterus. But today we want to talk about what is the majority of the situation and not the exception. When you are born as a young girl, you have ovaries that have multiple eggs, and they continue developing until you reach a stage of menarche, a special term that marks the beginning of the menstrual cycle. At menarche, a woman starts her monthly bleeding, or it is characterized prior to this by ovulation, release of our first eggs, and then if a pregnancy does not occur, which implants in the uterus, the lining, which has thickened in preparation for receiving this pregnancy, then is shed off, cleans itself up in readiness for another possible pregnancy. Of course, I'll warn you that at this stage as young women, we want ourselves to prepare for the event of pregnancy. So we have to be aware that once our fertility cycles have begun, pregnancy can occur at any stage, whether you have a monthly period or your period comes every other 3 months or so. Regardless, once the periods have begun, a woman can conceive at any one point. But a menstrual cycle characterizes the fact that this particular month I have ovulated and I have not fallen pregnant, and my body cleanses itself. For a few days I will be bleeding to different degrees, and this will come to a stop, and then my body again will start preparing to release the next lot of eggs. Now, in our culture as Zambians, in this period of time, we are taught hygiene in our homes, how to look after ourselves. We are taught to avoid the menfolk, perhaps because of this risk of pregnancy. Many times, the women or the young girls tend to be shy about what has happened to them. But you know what? It happens to all of us women. And we should embrace this fact. We shouldn't run away from it. And I think one of the challenges we have, even with our girl children, discussing our sexuality or our womanhood, is because this index landmark in our cycles, in our lives, is regarded with shame. But I'm here to tell you that there's no shame about it. And whether I'm a woman with menstrual cycles or not, I can perform as well as any man out there in the banking sector, in the agricultural sector, in the medical sector. But I must be aware of what my womanhood is about, what it means, as I have explained: ovulation, no pregnancy, cleansing or washing out of the lining, in readiness for the next menstrual cycle. So, until we can understand this and appreciate this, some of these cycles are characterized by moodiness, breast tenderness or pain, very much cramping, but it's manageable. And this is something that we'll continue to talk about tomorrow. I'm Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, gynecologist, member of Medical Women's Association, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to Camnet TV. That was Dr. Mutinta. And of course, she was speaking to the subject of menopause. I know a lot of women, Katamanda, start to get under pressure when you are going towards the age of 45. Others, it comes as a joy, but for others, it begins to come as a pressure, more especially those in rural areas. I think these are the areas that our ministry should be focusing on when it comes to educating people. I am told of a story in my village where a woman was almost coming to a close. You know, she was heading towards menopause, and you know, sometimes I just don't know what happens with our men.
Yeah.
The man started wanting a child from the wife, but the wife said, look, I'm having a complication and I don't know what's happening with my body, because she's also in the village. She's not understanding what is happening in the body. So I'm unable to bear you a child because I don't know what has happened, but she didn't understand that she's going through that stage. And she kept on receiving a lot of pressure from the husband to say, you need to give me a child at this particular age. And, you know, with trying, luckily, she did conceive in, I think, 46, 47. But when the child was born, I think, Kanomo not wino.
No. That's not wino. The child had some condition?
Yes, I think some mental retarded growth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because I think it was in a late age, and I think we hear medical practitioners, they prescribe an age at which it is convenient for women to have a child. Afterwards, there's no need of keeping trying, but we do receive women, as women, a lot of pressure from our men. So when we are talking about these issues, it's important to educate the men, it's important to equally educate the women so that they understand what's happening with their bodies. Because some people in rural areas, they don't even know when they were born. So they don't even know I'm going towards this age.
It was during the time that we were harvesting.
Yeah.
It's quite sad.
Yeah, something like that. But we are excited that health facilities are now coming up even in rural areas, and we hope to see more investment in that sector through our Ministry of Health, and of course through the Constituency Development Fund, 27.5 million that has been given per constituency. We need to see a lot of health facilities coming up so that people can have access to health facilities. Yesterday in the news, Katamanda, we did play a clip where an injection has, family planning injection has gone bad. I think this is the second time we are playing such a story, except the first one, it was amputated, and it was illegal business, for lack of a better way to say, because she just went to someone. But for this other person, it came as a result of her having gone to a public health facility. But we're going to zoom in that story later on in the program, because we have some quite number of stories that we're going to be zooming in on the program this morning. But remember, this morning our topic of discussion is, what is your expectation in the 2023 national budget? Remember, Minister of Finance and National Planning, in case you missed it, Dr. Situmbeko Msokotwane, is next week on the 30th of September 2022 expected to announce the 2023 national budget. We have seen the implementation of the 2022 national budget lag a little bit behind, more especially in the area of the Constituency Development Fund. So what is your take this morning? Send us those messages on our Facebook page as this program is being streamed live, or you can call through and make those submissions with regards to your expectation in the 2023 national budget. Again, something interesting, Katamanda, that the Minister of Finance said, is that they have some tax reforms that they will be introducing in the 2023 budget, but he says it is a secret for now, and stakeholders should wait.
I have a feeling this one people are going to be happy about that. Anyway, we'll see the outcome.
Yeah, more especially those in the mining sector. I think this was directed to those in the mining sector to say they have some tax reforms, but they will only announce them next week. For now, it remains a secret and only known to Dr. Msokotwane and, of course, President Hakainde Hichilema. But we wish for the best. And, of course, we've seen people, like ordinary people, saying we need tax reduction for those of us who are working in the civil service, because the taxes that government collects from us is quite high. And looking at where we are in terms of economic performance, life has become pretty hard, but I know we are getting somewhere with all.
To be honest, we have been talking about this like for years now. Governments have changed, but we don't see the reduction in the tax issue. So do you think this time around something will change?
I keep my fingers crossed, Katamanda. We hope for the best
Oh.
next week. Yeah. But right about now, we are going to look at the money market. How is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles? The Zambian kwacha against other major convertibles has been a topic of great concern and of discussion, seeing that the kwacha has appreciated over the past few months. So there you have it. Our local currency this morning, Zambian kwacha against the Great British Pound, is buying at 17 kwacha 58 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 98 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar is buying at 15 kwacha 58 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 88 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the euro there is buying at 15 kwacha 36 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 67 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 0.89 kwacha, 0.89 ngwe, pardon me, and selling at 0.90 ngwe. That is the money market for this morning. Zambian kwacha against South African rand there, 0.89 ngwe. Katamanda, we've seen kwacha perform quite better than the South African rand, and we know that we import a lot of things from South Africa. Unfortunately, I don't know why we are not seeing a reduction of most of the goods that we import in our country, owing to the fact that the kwacha has been performing pretty well against other major convertibles.
Maybe it's because of the fuel prices.
But in the past few months, we've seen a reduction in the price of fuel.
But the reduction is not that much. It's just with the difference of maybe 2 kwacha, 1 kwacha, so...
That's a lot per liter.
Well, we'll see. Maybe this time around, because we're yet to see, because we're almost at the end of the month. And we'll see.
We'll get to hear new prices next week. Of course, next week Friday will actually be an interesting day.
Yeah.
We have the Minister of Finance announcing the national budget. We have the Energy Regulation Board equally giving us the new price of fuel. And we've seen a lot of what has been happening on the international market, and of course predictions from people saying the price of fuel might even go high, considering that government is now waiving off the tax holiday that we are given on the taxes in the fuel sector. So once that is removed, we have about 40% increase in the price of fuel. So I don't know where we go, but we have seen our local currency performing better there. So for those who want to buy cars from South Africa, and of course this is the time, but please, sitifuna ma scrap metals.
Well, when you sit on the tap, when you stand, your home.
Yes, let's not make our country a dump site for some of these vehicles, because it looks cheap on the international market and you're desperate for a car and you think this is the way to go. Remember, that comes with a lot of carbon emission. If you buy a car that is not in good condition, it comes with a lot of carbon emission, and carbon emission has an effect on our economy. That's why if you see this September, even before we go into October, it's really hot. It's getting hotter every single day. All this is a result of global warming, which has been caused by some of these things that we ignore. Things like carbon emission, things like careless dumping of waste. When you dump waste anyhow, it produces methane gas. Methane gas somehow is known as one of the largest contributors to global warming. So such things are happening and we are just ignoring them. So even as our culture is performing better, we are looking to buy a car. Let's ensure that it is a car that is in good shape. Yeah, of course, earlier in the program, Katamanda, we did mention to say we saw a case or a situation where an injection has gone wrong. A 24-year-old woman of Chawama compound in Lusaka is nursing a serious wound on her left hand, suspected to have been as a result of Depo-Proviro, a contraceptive injection that she was jabbed at a named public health facility. Dorcas Malama tells Camnet News that she developed a painful arm shortly after receiving a Depo-Proviro jab, which few days later led to a swollen arm. Ms. Malama says she was later referred to Chilenje Level 1 Hospital, where she was prescribed painkillers, but that the medication did not help cure the problem. So this morning we are going to zoom in that story that made headline yesterday, and let's get to interact. If you have had such an experience, we also want to hear from you. How was your experience, and how is it that our government can improve the provision of health services to the citizenry? Remember, we go to hospitals to find solutions and not to get problems, like was the case in Dorcas Malama. What are we going to what are we talking about? We are going to zoom into that story that made headline yesterday.
Barely a week after a woman who had her arm amputated due to suspected wrong family planning injection was released from the hospital, another woman of Lusaka's Chawama compound, identified as Dorcas Malama, is nursing a serious wound on her left arm that nearly left her amputated. Miss Malama, a 24-year-old and mother to one child, has told Camnet News that she developed a painful arm shortly after receiving a Depo-Provera, a contraceptive injection, at a named public health facility in Lusaka. She tells this reporter that when the situation worsened, she went back to the named health post but was referred to Chilenge Level 1 hospital, where she was given painkillers that did not help the situation.
Naindo family planning ya Depo. Then after nalasisa, the following day, kwanja zinamba kubaba. Afterwards, nabwana shita notice that kwanja yamba kuvimba. Then nabwana nkalako 3 days, because it was a weekend, sevenza kwen nabwana lasisa family planning. Nabwana bwele lako, kutini shita explain problem, mababa ntuma I should go ku Kanyama General Hospital. Kanyama General Hospital, I was just given an injection, antibiotics, na painkiller. From there, I stayed the day, problem ya Munkala West, kwanja mbwenda ivimbi lako. Bananisa advised that I should be using ice. Na using sako ice kuchinapo, but still problem ya Munkala West.
Miss Malama further explains that she later decided to seek medical services at the University Teaching Hospital, where when she inquired on why her condition had turned to worse, she was told that it might have been as a result of negligence by the health practitioner who failed to disinfect her arm before administering the injection.
Ku UTH, after banisuka, spananze vidivon, so pena bolela ku review. Nabana indomfunza what really caused this problem, and I knew that it would have been negligence ya nurse. Maybe spana kiline po chita inject na spirit, because wafungo kilina na spirit, so maybe anangesa ma bacteria mukati mwaskini ndechi nambo kozinga ichilonda kwa panga mafina mukati.
The mother of a 7-month-old baby now says due to her condition, she has been unable to breastfeed her baby and now wants compensation from the government over the pain that the whole incident has caused to her family, including a little baby.
Just be compensated for this. Yeah, and I think the government should also take precautions. They should provide all the things that are necessary needed in my health post. Because I'm sure this problem is not really the fault of the nurse, but maybe they didn't have spirit which they could use to clean my arm.
A mother to the victim has appealed to the health practitioners in the country to pay more attention when handling health-related matters.
Instead apa sevenzeko, apa sasevenza, then mwana achepesa 7 months aleka kunyonga. Elo ife na ife atipasa burden yosakira vakuda va mwana. So aba bantu bafunika at least vakazika konzeru. Chifuko banasanka inchito. Bamene sengati baweze kufuna kusevenza. Sembe banaleka chabe kansi. Kupambana kuti bakasevenzera bantu bafuna help ku health manje futi vileta ma problem.
Pantu ngabena ngabaleposa kwa mano ishi muntu uli obale chitando ala abafye bwino. So pantu penyo yali moyo ifo chali tupapusha bonze pantu poto ambilo ukula shama nyere tikale sana.
As this young mother is coming to term with her condition, our hope is that no other woman should go through what she had to endure. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News. Sad development there. A 24-year-old woman, of course, she is a mother of a 7-month-old baby, and she is unable to breastfeed a child due to the process that she had to undergo during this period. I can imagine the pain of having a painful arm and a child wanting to suck and stuff like that. And the mother explains to say, we don't sleep in the night. Imagine the child is crying, she's equally
the mother
crying.
is also in pain.
Due to the pain. So I don't know what is the leading cause to this. I'm not a health expert, but I would like maybe to listen to health experts over this issue. Yes, what would definitely cause a condition like that, or a situation where someone gets a jab and it ends up going to the waste.
as we saw on that clip. And of course, she did mention to say when she went to the health facility where she went to do the injection, she was not cleaned on her arm the way they do with spirits, they disinfect you and stuff like that. Yes, the nurse only got an injection and jabbed her. So maybe during that process, she might have had bacteria enter her arm together with the medication, and it led to that. But I'm not a health expert, as I said, Katamanda. We hope to hear to what health experts have to say. But maybe this is a wake-up call to health practitioners to say, don't take things for granted. Or maybe sometimes we take it that I've done this for a long time. So I'm an expert. I can do this without even following the right procedure. You might not know how someone is because people are different. So she administers those contraceptives. What's this medical term? Please let me just get it correctly. Depo-Provira. Maybe she does inject people that for quite some time because the girl did mention to say she's not a young person. She's an older person who's been in this profession for a long time. So she didn't expect her to make such kind of a mistake. Yes, and maybe when she was injected, she got bacteria in the process, and it led to quite that. The scene, if you see it, it's quite disturbing.
I can tell just by looking at it. Now I can imagine in person how it looks like. And I think it's also a wake-up call on the women as well, because I think everyone knows when you're going to be jabbed, they have to disinfect the place where they're jabbing. And like you just go there and then someone wants to without I think we should also be sensitive enough to know our rights and tell these people that attend to us, like, okay, I've just seen you doing this, why can't you first disinfect the people? But of course there'll be those disagreements of saying you can't tell me what to do. I know. No, I remember that's the truth. I think 2 weeks, is it a week ago, I had sore throats and I went to one of the health facilities to, of course, understand why, because I had taken medicine for quite some time, this self-prescription. I know when I have sore throats, I buy Pen. But I saw that it wasn't helping and the situation was getting worse, so I decided to say, okay, let me visit the health facility. So there's something that I noticed when I was seated, when they were getting temperature. Sometimes the practitioner would forget to disinfect, to clean it, before giving. And I thought myself, once I sit there and she forgets, I'll remind her to say, please, can you have it sterilized? And yes, when I reached there, and she was very busy because there are people and stuff. So when she wanted to give me, I told her, no, you've not sterilized this thermometer because I just saw you use it on someone else. And she was like, oh, it's good you've reminded me, I actually forgot. So she gets it, cleans it, and gives it to me. Because we are living in a time of COVID. Exactly. So you have to be sensitive, and you have to know your rights. So you see someone is about to give you that jab, which you usually get, and you know that before they do that, they have to disinfect, but she's not done that. I think as patients also, you've got the right to politely speak to someone and say, but you've not disinfected me before doing it. I don't think if you speak politely to someone I don't think they would respond in a sometimes it's the way we approach people. You want to tell them what to do. The nurse it's just a human being. Sometimes they get overwhelmed, more especially if there are a lot of people. We know that in most health facilities, when you go there, you find quite a number of people there, and they become overwhelmed. But that's not an excuse for why someone should neglect to do what they are supposed to do. So if you have had such experiences as women, let's get to hear what you have to say, your experience with regards to this medication. I know others have taken them for almost all their life, women, and they've not had challenges of such nature. And I'm not a health expert, and I would like to hear, maybe we get an health expert to speak to why maybe this might have been the reason why this particular patient had reacted like that to this kind of medication. So that is one of the stories that made headline yesterday. And of course, speaking about health facilities, we now know, actually I didn't know that we have a clinic, Katamanda, for these I only found out yesterday when I was watching the news. I had no idea. The gay and lesbian stuff that has been going on. They actually have a clinic at the University Teaching Hospital, where some stakeholders have been criticizing the government and demanding that that clinic be closed because it is encouraging them. If they keep practicing what they are doing, and of course, if they know things go wrong, I have a clinic that I can just go to, and I will be worked on. So there is an outcry from people who are demanding that that health facility should be closed. But yesterday,
the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbo, reacted. I think you have something on your desk
I
there.
have the story. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbo, says the United Party for National Development Administration will not close the special clinic catering for homosexuality community at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka, as doing so would derail the fight against HIV and AIDS, which it was established for.
That was the Minister of Home Affairs reacting to that story. What are we talking about? Let's zoom in that story that made headline in our main news yesterday.
The Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbo, has clarified that contrary to some claims from some sections of society purporting that a special clinic for homosexuals was built recently, it was established before the new Dawn government ascended to power.
It is not us. It is the government of the PF, after being advised and after having considered the issues, to establish a special clinic at the UTH for the homosexuals. It is not the UPND government. If they establish the clinic at UTH to provide special services for the homosexuals, it follows that the PF government then knew that there was homosexuality in this country.
Asked whether government had any intentions of closing the special clinic at UTH, Mr. Mwimbo said no at the moment.
It was established for a specific purpose, and I have no doubt in my mind that that purpose still exists. So we cannot close it for the time being until the situation changes. Because we have to protect our people from the vice of HIV and AIDS. You are all aware that one of the major ways of transmitting HIV and AIDS is through these unnatural acts that are being perpetrated.
He also refuted claims that he has been warning people against speaking on homosexuality through parliament.
I've never threatened anybody. My statement on the floor of the House, which I made, was that all of us have the responsibility to protect the moral standing of our people in this country and ensure that we adhere to the laws of this country. I also requested various stakeholders to educate those who are involved in homosexuality to desist from that vice, for it is against the law of this country.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwimbo says government has just unearthed a scam in which some political parties, media houses and pressure groups are sponsoring sporadic incidences of men and boys being sodomized. He has maintained that the UPND government will not condone acts of homosexuality. He adds that preliminary investigations indicate that some political parties have hijacked the homosexuality agenda to dent the name of the head of state. Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
There you have it. Minister of Home Affairs Jack Mwimbo yesterday denying that this administration will not close down the special clinic, a special clinic for homosexuals at the University Teaching Hospital because it was not established under the United Party for National Development, but under the Patriotic Front. And the fact that that clinic was established meant it was serving a special purpose, and that purpose will continue. So they are not going to be forced to close that clinic because it was the PF that, of course, introduced that clinic. Katamanda, I don't know what your take is with regards to this topic.
First things first, this thing of pointing fingers, let's just like work, let's just do what we're supposed to do and like pointing fingers at this one, that one. My take is, okay, this is really a controversial issue, and it comes with mixed feelings from people. One of the things that is mentioned, like one of the purpose of this clinic is reducing HIV and AIDS, or for the purpose of HIV and AIDS, or controlling HIV and AIDS, of which I feel every clinic or hospital has got those facilities that they help with people with HIV and AIDS, as well as, you know, just educating people. Should we have like a specific one just for homosexualities or the LGBTQ, is it? Should we have like a specific clinic for them? Because how it's looking like now, it's like we are promoting, we are encouraging them. Like, you can go about doing your businesses. We have something that will help you when you come here, when you start having issues, you can come here, meaning we're supporting them. But if they know like we have nowhere to go, probably they will stop, they won't be engaging or indulging because they know we have nowhere to go. But then if they have somewhere to go, I think it's encouraging them somehow. But then everyone has got an opinion, but this is my opinion. I don't know what you think or what your take is.
Let's get to hear what you have to say. Those of us catching us on their different platforms, being it on your gadget or on your TV set, what is your take with regards to what the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, said yesterday when he said they will not close the special clinics of the what?
It's LGBTQ,
yes, clinic at the University Teaching Hospital, because it was established under the Patriotic Front. The fact that the PF government came up with that clinic, it was serving a special purpose, and that purpose still continues even under the United Party for National Development Administration. Mr. Mwimbu even went ahead to say, you know, the natural act of nature that happens with these guys, of course, comes with its own challenges. So we, of course, will continue with that. But let's get to hear what the caller has to say this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm Robina Muni, calling from Livingston.
It's good to know Livingston is tuned in this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution, Madam Regina.
Okay, thank you so much. The contribution is on that clinic which has been established in UTA for homosexuals. That clinic is correct, let it stand. You remember, even when the HIV started, we had a problem for victimization of the people, of not coming forward for treatment.
Okay.
So even if they have got a problem, so if they have been separated from the public, it will encourage them to go to the hospital to minimize the infection of HIV. So if we close that clinic, which means all those who have been having treatment from that clinic, they will shine away, and we are promoting a lot of infections to be going on. So let them be protected as we protected the HIV in normal circumstances. Two, if they can say, no, it is this party, it is this party, wherever there is a problem, we are not pointing out to say you are the cause, you are the right. Or whatever we have to do is, when the problem comes, let's just deal with it accordingly without saying anything. Because if we start pointing fingers, it is not helping us, because this is part of the community that is having a problem. So let's just welcome it and treat them as they are. But what we should know is we have to give a general education on immorality, and that way we make an end to these people to behave in such a way. As great people, take it as other facilities. Let's stand up and help them so that this thing can come to an end. We are not part of the community of bringing immorality or other things bad in this country. Let's stand together, all of us, and make an end to this thing which has come into our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Madam Regina, there from Livingston. She has made quite a good submission there, Katamanda. She says let the clinic stand, because those people are part of the community. And of course, if you say you close their clinic, they will be shunning away from accessing health facilities, which might lead to an increase in the number of diseases, sexually transmitted diseases in the country. But again, she says, we should stand up and help these because they have a problem. So we are not accepting immoral behavior. So this is where we have to come in as community, talk to them, speak to them, and help them so that we can bring this whole issue to an end, rather than pinpointing where you say, hey, it's the PF, hey, it's UPND. It's not helping us. Keep that clinic, but let's stand up and help them, because as a country, we do not subscribe to immoral behavior. So we can help them, talk to them, counsel them, but that clinic should continue so that people should not be shunning away from accessing health facilities when they have a problem because of a community in which they belong. So this is a submission there coming from Madam Regina from Livingston.
No, I totally hear her out. If you have any comments to the viewers as well, you can come through with your views as well, because you know we have different personalities, we have different ways of thinking. Other people support it, other people don't support it. But I, for one, I say let's close that clinic, because it's like we are promoting, like I said earlier, we're promoting them, we're encouraging them, because we know there's a place where they are safe.
Hello.
We have.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
We are fine.
Please go ahead with your contribution, then also tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling you from Livingston.
It's good to know Livingston is tuned in this morning.
The clinic must right away be closed. I agree with the Casamanda there. We must not go around these matters. The people who are going around these matters are the ones who are propagating these evil morals. This matter of homosexual, it must not even be mentioned amongst ourselves in this nation. Even in the Bible, it is written that matters of such must never be mentioned among yourselves. As we begin to see things of homosexual being mentioned among Zambians, whom we call ourselves that we are Christians, it is not good to, it is abomination. So right away, things like this must be eradicated. It must not be celebrated. That clinic that they're talking about, that if they close this, then they are going to spread what? These people, because that is a private, the homosexual is a private thing that they have established individuals. So they have nowhere to go. They are not going to public clinics. What do you want? By the way, if we say that clinic is still there, that means even if some homosexual, it has been legalized. They are not playing things like this. We are going to attract the wrath of God upon this nation. Yesterday, I was listening to the statement which the environmental minister was giving over the rain started. Have you seen now? Members of parliament were crying, no, the rain is not coming because of climate change. It's not climate change. These issues of cutting trees and so on, it was there before, but the rain is coming. It is because of things like this, homosexuals. People that don't know, this is a big thing. So there's no way we can say, we must go there, we find them, we help them, we talk to them. Don't you remember what? It's just taking them, this is wrong. If we find you, you're arrested, you're taken to prison, you're not in prison. What? All that. So thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nkuma, there from Livingston. It says the clinic should be immediately closed. This is against nature. That's why we are having a lot of challenges when it comes to the rainfall pattern in our country. These are not purported as a result of the cutting down of trees, but because of the inhuman nature of some activities that we are promoting in our country. They are more spiritual than the physical eyes can see. That is a comment. He's saying there's no need to even talk to them and counsel them. What is the whole essence of talking to people and counseling them when they know that what they are doing is wrong? So 2 comments coming from Livingston there. Madam Regina said, keep the clinic standing so that people do not shun away from accessing health facilities. She says, let's talk to some of these people because their act is immoral and we do not support that as a country. But let's not deny them an opportunity to access health facilities. But Mr. Nkuma there disagrees and says this clinic should be immediately closed because what is happening is an abomination and it should not even be mentioned because the Bible states that such should not even be mentioned amongst yourselves. Let's get to hear what others have to say with regards to this particular topic this morning. Remember, today, Friday, we do, of course, look at the business sector of what is happening around, and the topic this morning is what are your expectations in the 2023 national budget, which the Finance Minister, Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane, is next week on Friday expected to present to Parliament. But of course, we are also zooming in the stories that made headline in our news yesterday, and this is where we played a clip from the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, yesterday, who said they will not close the homosexual clinic that is at the University Teaching Hospital because it was established under the Patriotic Front and it was established for a purpose, and that purpose still remains. And we are not going to shut it down as a party. And of course, he did mention that just because someone is wearing a dress or putting up makeup and stuff like that does not mean they are homosexuals, Katamanda. Unless you find them in the act, that's when you can pinpoint to say these are homosexuals. So that was, of course, coming from the Minister of Home Affairs yesterday. And of course, he did mention to say his party does not support homosexuality, but they are not going to deny those an opportunity. Let's get to hear what others have to say this morning.
Hello?
Sir, good morning. Bueno, Mawaka Banji. Why? Chazanga, it's good to know Chazanga is watching this morning. Sir, please go ahead with your contribution.
time of blaming others is not God. Why we voted for them, we voted for these people to do what is right. To hope for the love of God for us, the people that we voted for. They are not there to represent other institutions, and they are representing God.
Hello?
I think he's gone.
Okay, that was Mr. Kamona from Chazanga right here in Lusaka. And of course, he speaks not just as a concerned citizen, but as a child of God, made in the image of God. That was his words. And he said some things are an abomination because not even animals can do the kind of a thing that human beings are doing, because their senses tells them it is wrong to do this. So why should we as human beings be promoting even things that animals think are an abomination? These were the words that he used with regards to that topic of discussion. In case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, this is a breakfast show, and the topic of discussion this morning is what are your expectation in the 2023 national budget, which the finance minister Dr. Situmbe Komsoko Twane will be announcing next week on the 30th of September 2022. However, we are also zooming in the stories that made headline, and among them is where the foreign Minister of Home Affairs mentioned that they will not close that clinics for LGBTQ. What is your comment with regards to that? Let's pick up that call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mama. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, sir. How are you?
Fine. This is Mr. Makwakuri from Kashure.
It's good to know Kafiwa is tuned in this morning. Please, sir, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, you know, this issue that you are trying to come up with here is very interesting though. Somehow, you know, we human beings, we are created in God's image. And whatever we are doing, it should represent God, He the Creator. Now, what I'm trying to say here, first of all, we should understand that in Matthew chapter 24, it's very clear. Plus today, a lot of issues will come or raise, and it is showing us the time we are in. Now, we as human beings, it's our responsibility to try by all means to make sure that the people should start to fear in God. And they should know who God is. This issue is a shame, first of all, to the whole world, to the nation Zambia. It is not supposed to be discussed in this way or form. Now, because of the devil, here we are. And again, you know, it's very important. It's very important to know mimba kumini inachokea. Isonga ngeni mchifuatili na mkazi ana mimba zuzi wa mwini wa mimba. So for the government to know the root cause of where we are is very important. So that the citizen can know how we have adapted this. So as we are tackling this issue, we should know where it is coming from and where we are going. So you just come in and just end like that. We need to know the root cause if we are going to end this. Otherwise, if you cut the tree on top, then you leave the sapling roots, then the tree will still come out. So the most important thing, we should know where this thing is coming from. And the law must be reinforced against this. I end my submission.
Okay, very powerful submission there that has been made this morning. I think when we were coming in the car, we did talk about exactly what he said. What is the root cause of this problem? Because looking at these who are engaged in such activities, we see most of them, they look like they have resources. It's like they're getting funded from somewhere. Can it be that funding or resources have been the contributing factor to this? Because those who are promoting this, of course, are giving out money. Can it be a contributing factor? Maybe that is just my thought or my imagination. I don't want to, of course, give an opinion there, but Katamanda, you said a very important point. Unless you know the root cause, or else you will catch the branches. But if you do not uproot those roots, the tree will still grow. Yes. One of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday, where Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwembo did mention that his administration will not close the LGBTQ clinic at the University Teaching Hospital because it was not established by the UPND but by the PF. And he says the fact that the PF established that clinic meant they had plans, and that purpose still remains up to now for that clinic. So they will not close the clinic, as opposed to those that are calling that that clinic be closed. But of course, Katamanda, we are getting a lot of important submissions.
Yes, we're getting, like I said, it's a controversial issue, and it's affecting everybody. Parents are affected. They are now scared for their children because we don't know how safe our kids are. I don't have a kid yet, but we don't know how safe. I
got on a taxi yesterday when going home after knocking off, and the man that I got in the car with, we were listening to radio, and this was being discussed, and he said something important. But maybe before we go to that, let me pick this call. Okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and of course, speak up this morning. Shadrach? All right, sir. Go ahead with your contribution. It's good to know Serenja is watching this morning. Okay, just speak up, sir. Just speak up. We can hear you. Just speak up. Hello?
I think we've lost him.
Oh.
I really wanted to hear what
we really wanted to hear what you have to say. You are just a bit low. We were able to get you, but you were just a bit low. So we just wanted you to speak up. And not that we were not able to get you. We were able to get you, but we just wanted you to speak up. So let us get to hear what you have to say. Call us again, and we will pick that call. So as I was saying, Katamanda, I got on a taxi yesterday, and the driver just told me I was about to send my son to boarding next year. But I've changed my mind. I'm not so certain with what is going on, because I can send my son to boarding today, and he comes back a different man. Unfortunately, so a lot of this issue is not just affecting a particular group, but it's affecting everyone, because parents are now scared. They're even scared of taking their kids to boarding school because of, we saw what happened at one of the Muslim school where, of course, pupils were being abused, the young ones, by those who are a little bit older. Even them, it's not that they just lent it. It means someone might have been doing it on them.
Someone showed them how to do it, and they thought like it's a normal thing. Because when you're a child, you're growing up, it's like you're just an empty jar. Whatever is poured in the inside of you is what will become of you. Will become of you.
Of course, Katamanda. Of course, this particular issue is a topic of great concern, and of course, it is affecting every one of us in society, regardless of who you are. So we will be picking another call shortly. I know for those who are calling us, just keep those calls coming. We will be able to pick up those calls. And up to now, we are going to be picking up another call because we have a call on hold. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir, good morning.
Morning to you. I'm Longo, Ghana, EST, Kitwe.
Okay, it's good to know Kitwe is watching this morning, Mr. Longo. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. My contribution is this. Zambia is a Christian nation. And what the Honorable said, I think, let's just do what is right. We close the clinic immediately. Okay. Are you getting me?
We are getting you, sir.
Yes, please. Let's because Zambia is a Christian nation and we cannot allow such a situation in our country. Whether it was PF, whether it is UNG, the thing is wrong. So let's just close it for the sake of Zambia.
All right, Mr. Lungu, thank you so much. Mr. Lungu from Onkana, Kitwe. This morning, it's good to know Kitwe is watching. We are getting a number of calls coming from all across the world, or rather across the country. I'm thinking big this morning, Katamanda.
Big. You are thinking big, and you should be thinking big.
Of course, and of course, of course, there, Mr. Lungu says, let's close the clinic. Zambia is a Christian nation. There's no two way about this. There's nothing like PF, UPND. What is wrong is wrong. That is according to Mr. Lungu from Okana in Kitwe. Yes, Katamanda.
No, I think with what the previous caller said, you know, you always have to get to the root cause of something. You can't just say no because it was. There are a lot of things that the UPND administration has, for lack of a better term, I'll say eradicated. They've removed quite a number of things that were put in place by the former administration, which was the PF. But why is it different? Why is this particular one different? Why are they saying it wasn't established by us, it was established by the previous administration? Why are they not applying the same concept of saying, no, because we're not the ones that brought up this, we are taking it away? They have quite removed a number of things that were put in place by the PF. But why is this one an exception?
Of course, this is the breakfast show. In case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, our topic of discussion this morning, because the Friday we look at the budget, is what are your expectations in the 2023 national budget, which the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane, will be announcing next week on a Friday. Remember, on the last week of September, the last day always, the Minister does present a budget to Parliament. However, we are also zooming in some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. We did play a clip earlier on of a lady who had a medical condition after receiving family planning injection from one of the government health facilities. So she is calling on government to compensate her family for everything that they have gone through during the period she was nursing her wound. And of course, we have played a clip on when the Minister of Home Affairs yesterday did speak to the fact that there has been an outcry from the public that the LGBTQ clinic at the University Teaching Hospital should be closed down. But he says we will not do that because that clinic was not established by us but by the PF, and it was for a purpose. And that purpose still continues in the UPND administration. That's why we are receiving calls from people talking about this particular issue. In case you're wondering why the topic looks different from what we are discussing, apparently. So we will be reading some of the messages on our Facebook platform. But of course, yesterday we also had another story that made headline in our news. And of course, that was with regards to a joint investigation involving 6 security wings and the SADC member state, which led to the arrest of 92 people for various offenses. The search of 85 motor vehicles and detention of 67 illegal immigrants, among others. The investigation was dubbed Operation Asylum 8 from 19th to 21st of September 2022 in Lusaka and Copperbelt, which also led to the recovery of 7 motor vehicles and arrears of 6 people, arrest of 11 people for wildlife-related offenses, and arrest of 1 woman for being in possession of explosive materials. So that was one of the stories that made headline yesterday. A joint investigative team underwent, or rather a security wing, they went and did some cleaning up in our country, on the Copper Belt, in Lusaka and other parts, and some arrests were made. What are we talking about? We are also going to zoom in that story that made headline. But remember our topic of discussion is today, this morning, and of course keep those messages and phone calls coming. You can comment on some of the stories that made headline in our news that we are playing this morning. So even right about now, we are going to zoom into that story so that we understand what is it that we are talking about this morning.
The Edwin Imboyela Stadium is full of vehicles that have been impounded for various offenses. Most of the vehicles were stolen from South Africa and have broken door handles and tampered chassis numbers. A joint operation team also seized 405 bottles of codeine and 1 kg of high-grade cannabis estimated at 80,000 kwacha and 15,000 kwacha respectively. And a total of 67 illegal immigrants were apprehended during the operation. The Inspector General of Police toured the site and gave a breakdown of the apprehended immigrants.
7 Tanzanians, 8 Congolese, 5 Burundians, 3 Malawans, 4 Zimbabweans, 1 Somalian.
He has also given more updates on their joint investigations.
Had 85, stolen motor vehicle 7, arrested a number of arrests made for theft of motor vehicle 6, arrests made for drug offenses 4, arrests made for wildlife related offenses 11, arrests made for mineral offenses 1, arrests made for being in possession of explosive material 1, arrests made for tax evasion 1. Illegal immigrants, we've got 67. A total number of people arrested for various offenses is 92.
However, the top cop warned perpetrators of such illegal activities of stern action.
I wish to warn that as law enforcement agencies, as a team, we are more than ready to meet squarely and deal sternly with all perpetrators of transnational organized crimes within and other countries.
Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
There you have it. A joint investigation involving 6 security wing and the SADC member state led to the arrest of 92 people for various offenses, the search of 85 motor vehicles, and detention of 67 illegal immigrants, among others. The investigative, dubbed Operation Asylum 8, from 19th to 21st September 2022 in the Lusaka Copper Belt, also led to the recovery of 7 motor vehicles and arrest of 6 people, arrest of 11 people from wildlife-related offenses, and arrest of 1 woman for being in possession of explosive materials. That was yesterday's story that made headline in one of our news item, where this activity has been taking place in our country. There is something that has caught my attention, Katamanda. Being in possession of explosive materials by 1 woman. What are the explosive materials for?
That's my question. I'm trying to understand, like, what are they for? Is she in some kind of business where she's dealing with some people? Maybe, honestly, I'm failing to understand.
What are they explosive for?
Yes, what are they for?
Okay, I don't know. That's the question I'm asking myself. I don't know that sometimes explosives on the copper belt are used for illegal mining activities. Yes, they do that. But in this particular case, what were those explosions for? I think we did hear a story, I think 2 weeks ago, where a statistics enumerator was caught up in a situation with some kids in the area and stuff like that when he was going about doing his work, where they tramped on an explosive and it exploded. And it wasn't quite a pleasant scene to mention, but we had an incident like that. Can it be that these results now are coming in as a result of people being in possession of offensive or explosive materials?
I think that's the case. I think that should be the case. But honestly, how is someone, okay, where are they even getting these explosive materials from? Because that's something that's going on in my mind right now. Like, where did she get those materials from? Where did she find them?
Where did she find them? How are they getting into the country? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. And if we know the root cause to some of these things, it is easy to stop them. Sometimes we just don't end at arresting people. We go as far as digging. How are these things getting in the country? Exactly. Where are they getting from? Who are they sourcing them from? Which is their entry point? Because I think we don't manufacture explosives in Zambia. So where are they getting these explosives?
Exactly my point. Because we have all these investigative wings for those materials to find themselves in Zambia,
Yeah.
how did they get in?
Of course, 4 people were arrested for drug-related offenses. We did hear the Inspector General of Police there mention. So we have a lot of drugs, because this is not the first time we are hearing that people have been arrested in the area of trafficking in drugs. So how are they getting in the country? Let's get to hear what another caller has to say this morning in regards to some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning. We can hear you.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, this is Banda, from Lola.
It's good to know Ndola is watching this morning. Mr. Banda, please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. Yeah, the program is a issue on Facebook.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. Banda from Mondola condemning the act and, of course, saying just because it was introduced under the PF, the current administration cannot say they cannot close it, because there are a number of things that were happening in the PF that they have brought to an end. And even in this particular issue, they can actually bring it to an end. That is a comment coming from Mr. Banda in Ndola. In case you are tuning into Camnet TV, the breakfast show on a Friday usually looks at the business sector. That's why our topic of discussion this morning is what is your expectation in the 2023 national budget, which the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane, will be presenting to Parliament next week on Friday. I am assured that next week on Friday, early in the morning, we will have some of an economist to just analyze the performance of the 2022 national budget, looking at the fact that on that particular day, the Finance Minister will be presenting the budget to Parliament at 10 hours. It will be so much watched because people are expecting to see what is it that they will say, considering that the 2022 implementation of the budget has not even been fully implemented. But of course, we are also zooming in some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. This is where we are now discussing the topic of LGBTQ clinic, which has been established at the University Teaching Hospital, Katamanda.
Yeah, that's what we are talking about. And some of you might be wondering, like, they are talking about the topic that is going on TV, something else, and then we're discussing something else. It's not the case. What we're discussing is, the topic of discussion is what you're seeing on the screen, but we are looking at the headlines that we had yesterday in the news, like the stories that made the headlines. That's what we're looking about. We're looking at. And it seems we've played 3 stories already. But it seems like the one that got people's attention is the LGBTQ. Yeah, that's what has gotten people's attention. But we played you a story of a woman, a 24-year-old woman from Chawama who got jabbed, but then she has so she had some complications, and she's asking maybe government to help her out or to compensate her for what they have caused her, because they have caused her some sort of trauma. She can't take care of her child because she's in pain.
She's in pain. A 7-month-old baby even had to stop being breastfed because the condition cannot allow her. As a result, she can't do any activity. She has even moved from her husband's home into her mother's home now, who has, of course, to look after the child and after her at the same time. And quite a sad scenario there. So this is a breakfast show on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. I appreciate everyone who's kept us company on this program this morning. We've had quite a good number of phone calls coming in, powerful contributions and submissions with regards to a lot of topic of discussion this morning. Keep those messages coming. I have seen Wadamulu here on our platform on Facebook has been sending us quite some messages. It's good to know, Mr. Mulu, you accompanied us, and he says, on the report you just shared is sad. I hope you can follow up on the issue concerned so the matter can be identified and remedied. For instance, where the needles contaminated, was it a supply issue? What about the school that certified them, etc. So I think it is responding to the issue of the woman who has had a problem. And then he's saying, I was hoping to hear more on the death of the 21 mothers from a road accident in the northern part of Zambia. Is Camnet planning to do piece on that? Of course, we are, except we've just had a little bit of challenges getting to the northern part of the country where the incidents happened. But of course, we are communicating with those DMMU, hoping when they go there to do everything, we can accompany DMMU and stuff like that. So anyone who has been watching us on our different platforms, we appreciate your company. This is where we have to close our program for this morning. I know a lot of people have been calling on this platform. Other calls we have picked, others we have not picked. Please do not feel discouraged. The next time your call will be picked, but keep watching Camnet TV. We appreciate your viewership. This is your host this morning, Prudence Chota. And of course,
it is good being on set with you, Prudence Chota. My name is Amazing Katamanda. I had an awesome time. I had a great time. And I must say, I have learned a lot of things. And from the viewers, we appreciate you as usual, because we can't be here without your support. So we appreciate your support, and not forgetting the pastors for this platform, as well as you guys who are doing the news, who are running up and down to make sure that you give us real information, you give us authentic and unbiased. We appreciate you guys. So it was an honor being with you on set. So thank you so very much for having me.
This is where we have to close the program. So on behalf of Camnet TV, the entire production team, it's bye for now. God bless you. Keep watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.